The world didn't collapse with a bang. It collapsed with silence. In just 100 days, nearly 1 million people were hunted down, not by invading armies, not by fighter jets, but by neighbours with lists. What happened in Rwanda wasn't ancient history or tribal chaos. It was modern, organised, preventable. And, the most terrifying part is this. The world had already seen this movie before. It was called World War II. And somehow the lessons didn't stick. Genocide never begins with machetes. It begins with ideas. Long before the bloodshed, Rwanda was reshaped by outside powers that divided people into rigid categories and ranked them like inventory. Identity cards turned human beings into labels. Over time, those labels hardened into resentment, fear, and political weapons. By the late 20th century, Rwanda was under extreme pressure, economic stress, political instability, a population packed into a small country with limited land. Add years of propaganda telling people that their neighbours were enemies, and you don't have tension. You have a loaded gun on the table. This is where the echoes of World War II start to feel uncomfortably loud. Dehumanization. Us versus them language. The slow normalization of hate. History had already shown where this road leads. The warning signs were flashing red. In April 1994, the final trigger was pulled. Within hours, roadblocks appeared. Radio broadcasts shifted tone. Names were read aloud. The killing didn't spread slowly. It exploded. What shocked observers later wasn't just the scale. It was the speed. This wasn't chaos. It was coordination. Militias moved with purpose. Civilians were pressured, threatened, and sometimes forced to participate. Refusal could mean death. This wasn't rage boiling over. This was a system in motion. During World War II, the world learned how bureaucratic genocide could be. Trains, lists, timetables. Rwanda proved that you don't need industrial camps to commit mass murder. You only need intent, organisation, and indifference from the outside world. Here's where the story gets uncomfortable. International forces were present. Foreign governments had intelligence. Warnings were sent. Plans were discussed. And still, almost nothing happened. Peacekeepers were restricted. Reinforcements were denied. The word genocide was avoided because saying it out loud would trigger legal obligations. So leaders chose vocabulary over lives. After World War II, the phrase never again became sacred. Rwanda exposed how fragile that promise really was. When intervention became inconvenient, the world hesitated. When speed mattered most, bureaucracy won. By the time global attention snapped into focus, the killing fields were already full. One of the hardest truths to accept is this. Most of the killers were not monsters. They were shopkeepers, farmers, young men just trying to survive. Fear was the fuel. Propaganda was the engine. Participation became proof of loyalty. Violence became normal. This is not unique to Rwanda. World War II showed the same pattern. Under the right conditions, societies can be bent, moral lines blur, atrocities become routine. The lesson here is terrifying and, well, vital. Genocide doesn't require evil people. It requires systems that reward cruelty and punish empathy. When the killings stopped, Rwanda was shattered, families erased, infrastructure destroyed, trauma everywhere. What followed was something rarely discussed: justice on an unimaginable scale, trials, reconciliation efforts, a country forced to confront the impossible question. How do people live again after this? Rwanda chose reconstruction over revenge. The process was imperfect, painful, and controversial. But it was intentional. The goal wasn't just survival. It was preventing history from repeating itself. World War II ended with courts and new global rules. Rwanda reinforced why those mechanisms matter. Accountability isn't about punishment alone. It's about memory, about drawing a line and saying, this is where humanity must stop. Rwanda is not a closed chapter. It's a warning label. The same ingredients exist today. Polarizing media, economic fear, political leaders who profit from division, technology that spreads lies faster than truth. Genocide doesn't announce itself. It creeps in wearing the clothes of patriotism, security, and grievance. By the time the violence starts, the groundwork has already been laid. World War II taught the world what unchecked hatred can do. Rwanda proved that even with that knowledge, failure is still possible. The real question isn't how this happened. It's whether we're paying attention now. The genocide in Rwanda carved a scar into global history that refuses to fade. Not because it was the worst atrocity ever committed, but because it happened after humanity claimed it had learned better. This story belongs on this channel because the scars of a global storm fronts is about more than battles and timelines. It's about the human cost of silence, about what happens when warning signs are ignored, about how fast the world can fall apart when no one steps in. History doesn't repeat because it forgets. It repeats because we do. If this story hit you, if it made you uncomfortable, that's the point. Share it, talk about it, keep these lessons alive. Subscribe to The Scars of a Global Stormfronts for deeper dives into the moments that shaped our world and the scars they left behind. Because understanding the past isn't optional, it's survival.